What is up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of the Two Game Podcast. We are here to start our review series for Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. The first two episodes came out, and then they decided to release three episodes this week. We will come back for the next three episodes. We hadn't even checked those out yet, but the first two episodes, fair game, full spoilers from this point forward. I'm just curious, before we actually jump into our initial thoughts of the first two episodes. Did you know anything about this series before it got released?
I think I saw the only time I saw it was whenever I was probably talking to somebody about something along the lines of the MCU, and I Googled like upcoming stuff, and I saw this on there, but I didn't see like any advertisements, no promos or nothing for it before then.
I remember, I want to say it was like a couple years ago, maybe at Comic-Con in San Diego. They had announced this. Maybe it was I don't know, whatever that Disney Expo bullshit was. It could have been there. But they announced that they were coming out with a new animated series, and I was like, hell yeah, brother, sign me up for anything animated Spider-Man, because usually it's pretty good, you know?
Absolutely, anything Spider-Man, I'm fair game for.
Exactly. And I gotta say, I kind of totally forgot about it up until the moment that you and I were working together, and I was like, hey, bro, they got a new Spider-Man show. You want to fucking check that shit out?
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
yeah, they didn't market this shit very well. I mean, they might have, but they just didn't do it very well because neither of us who are huge Spider-Man fans, I didn't know anything about it.
Yeah.
But I will say this: when I read like a little bit of a review, and then I saw like some still like frames of the animation and the design, and I'm not gonna lie, I went into it with very, very low expectations. I wasn't a big fan of what it looked like prior to
hmm
watching it.
Yeah, I didn't know what to expect as far as the animation. I mean, when I think of animated, I think of, like your regular cartoon, Disney cartoon show. I mean, after watching it though, it definitely extremely exceeded those expectations.
Dude, it looks pretty fucking good. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. It took me a little bit, like maybe like halfway through the first episode, maybe in the first full episode. I was like,
hmm
I don't know if I like everything that's going on in this episode, but the animation is not there. And then it like kind of grew on me a little bit, and I was like, bro,
Yeah.
this is fucking tight. This is like put this
No,
up there. Maybe not as good as like Spider-Verse. It's not nearly as good as that, but like
it's a lot smoother, I think, as far as like the movement and everything. This Into the Spider-Verse, it's kind of like I don't know, it's like you can see kind of the frames, I guess. But I mean, that's like I guess the art style of it. But this, I just like how it's very vivid and it's just all the movements are smooth. It's nice.
and I love that it's designed like a comic book strip.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
throw up panels, and then it just, to me, that looks so freaking cool. And the animation really fits in well with that, because I want to
yeah.
say Spider-Verse has done that a couple times with the like comic book panels, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, but completely different animation style than this, and I feel like this fits better with that in
Yeah,
the series.
absolutely, absolutely. I do remember Into the Spider-Verse having like when something happens, it has like the like cacao or
Yep,
the what are those or something like that.
sure. So I'm from
Um,
Mississippi. We don't know English over there.
shoot, here or something. But
Pow, boom.
yeah, you know what I mean. That stuff. I remember that stuff being in there. But like it's kind of like you're looking through a comic book. It reminds me of that. I told you this the other day. It reminds me of the old PlayStation 2 game. I think it was it Ultimate Spider-Man or something like that. But yeah, I'm gonna have to check back with you with that
Yeah,
name.
yeah.
But it
Come
reminds me
back
a
to me.
lot. It reminds me a lot of that game.
Yeah, the animation's dope, man. I really enjoy it now. Yeah, like I said, it took me a minute.
Yeah.
But outside of the animation, now we gotta talk about the other shit going on. Okay, we gotta talk about the Spider-Man himself. We gotta talk about the story, the characters, and we'll kind of just start off with episode one a little bit, which is a origin story of sorts. They really just breeze through it and just kind of give you the high points of him turning into Spider-Man, and I'm perfectly okay with that. I think to start a new series, you definitely kind of need to have that starting point.
hmm
But look, if you're a Spider-Man fan, chances are you've seen like
You
the
you
other
know
like
how it goes.
you know how
You
it
know how
goes.
it
Okay,
goes.
we don't need to know. So it
Yeah.
shows them getting bit by the spider, and then he has his powers. And that's basically it. It just kind of breezes through it. But before all that, the spider comes from a different universe, different reality, and Doctor Strange shows up with like a Venom-like monster.
It looked like a Venom version of Craven.
Kind of with the little
like
the fur-looking shit on the back.
Yeah.
Who knows, man? Maybe it
I
was
was
Venom
curious.
Craven.
Yeah, I was curious if that was Doctor Strange and Venom from that same universe or if it was from a different universe. I was thinking a different universe because of like the spider and like Into the Spider-Verse, how that spider was from a different universe and everything. But I mean, I still have those questions.
I want to say it's a different universe because I want to say Doctor Strange kind of makes a little
Yeah, he was
nod.
like, "Oh, we're not supposed to be here." So,
Exactly.
like, oh, what you mean?
So I thought it was interesting to bring Doctor Strange into the mix within like the first 5 seconds. I wasn't a big fan of him specifically in the episode. That's probably like when it got past Doctor Strange, I'm like, okay, now the episode's getting better. I wasn't a big fan of it. I mean, it's not terrible and it's not bad. Like I ended up rewatching it again, and I didn't have a problem with it. It was just in comparison to everything else. Like, come on, like, I want to see Spider-Man. Let's get to the good shit.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always down for a cameo. So seeing him was kind of like putting me on the hook to be like, oh, what's going on? What's happening here? You know?
Maybe it was the voice acting. Maybe I didn't like the voice actor for him. I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, Benedict is always going to be my guy. Anyone outside of that for Doctor Strange?
He's the GOAT.
Yeah, absolutely.
But as far as like the story goes for episode 1, it's really kind of introducing you to several of the characters. And I don't know. I feel like this was their shot at kind of bringing a new audience to Spider-Man and kind of like bringing in the older audiences as well. Like, this is definitely not a kiddie version of Spider-Man.
No, this isn't Spider-Man Friends they're talking about.
Exactly. No, he, I think they says the word shit in there at some point, if I'm not mistaken. I know he says hell, but like, I feel like this is meant for all ages to watch this movie. Like, me personally really enjoyed the first 2 episodes and gives me hope for the rest and makes me excited to watch each and every episode. But they're also changing a lot of shit. And that's what kind of leads me to my point of, for you introducing these characters to a new audience, you're changing up a lot of shit. And honestly, it's not even the gender swapping or the race swapping or anything like that, which we're not going to talk about because we don't really discuss that on this podcast. But I just find it interesting that they went so much into it. It just seems like they were so big in changing everything and then not bringing in like the goated characters, basically. Like, I had to look up who Pearl was. I had never fucking heard of her. Never heard of her in my life. And then Lonnie Lincoln, don't think I ever heard of him either.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you who that is. Lonnie or Pearl.
Oh, he's Tombstone. See, I've only ever known Tombstone as Tombstone and I've mainly seen him in the Marvel Spider-Man games. So, hey, that's all me. But also known as Tombstone. That'd be interesting.
Yeah. But I've noticed that, I mean, with every universe of Spider-Man that we've had, I mean, nothing has kind of lined out the same. We've always had, like, besides the name Peter Parker and Aunt May. But, like, I don't know. So I'm interested to see the next take on the...
Yeah, I do like the characterization of Spider-Man. I feel like they're kind of nailing that. And it might not be perfect. I think one of the 2 favorite scenes of the episode is when he's trying to save Harry, and it's just like the interaction between him and the gang is just really, really good. I like those quips that he throws out there. Like, that's just Spider-Man to me.
Oh yeah.
And some of the innocence with him just being basically a little teenager. I think goes a long way and just adds a lot of humor to it. And then like the very end, it was one small moment that I was just like, damn, bro, that's fucking Spider-Man right there, man. And that was when he brought that girl back to the pizza parlor and who had stolen the money. And he was talking to the owner, and he's like, look, she's down on her luck. She made a bad choice. How about we give her a second chance? Ultimately, it's up to you, but I think we should give her a second chance. And I'm like, that's my boy right there, man. That's fucking Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And
that was.
Have you played Spider-Man 1 and 2?
Oh yeah, I beat those in like 24 hours, 48 hours.
Dude, I beat that thing like it was my dick, bro. It went quick.
What do you think this is amateur?
You think this is a game? So I've said this many times on the podcast before. One of my favorite moments of the second Spider-Man was he was trying to find that grandpa who had lost his wife, and he was sitting in the park and he was just reminiscing about and it was kind of placed against Spider-Man, where he was also struggling with his relationship with Mary Jane and being a hero. And that was like one of my favorite moments of the entire movie. And it was just like a little quiet moment between Spider-Man and this old dude, and they were just having a conversation. And this scene reminds me of that. That to me is like the core of what Spider-Man is. It's just having these little quiet moments like that.
I mean, it humanizes him. You know? He's not just a hero all the time. So, yeah, I always appreciate those. I was watching old Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man the other night, and I told my girlfriend, I was like, look, you want a good action and romantic movie? Spider-Man is the best of both worlds.
Spider-Man 2.
The trilogy, just the relationship with him and Mary Jane, like, I don't know, chef's kiss.
Let's not get crazy. Okay?
Come on.
Let's not get crazy.
No,
Spider-Man 3, I will say this. Spider-Man 3 is significantly better. Like I rewatched it, I think last year, maybe the year before. Much better on the rewatch than when it first came out. Because I want to say that movie has just grown on me more as time has passed.
Mm-hmm.
The most anticipated movie of my life, sir, was Spider-Man 3. I bought tickets for that shit. Opening night, I was there, and I worked at a theater. So I bought tickets to go see this. I didn't wait for it to be free for me. Mm-hmm. And I remember just being utterly disappointed by that movie.
Damn.
But it's grown on me. I do like the movie. It just has some stupid fucking moments in it. And Spider-Man 2 is the best version.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, it's one of the best versions of Spider-Man that we've got. It's the best combination of action, drama, and story in one. It's probably the best live-action Spider-Man. I'd put it up there against No Way Home and Homecoming.
Yeah. I mean, I think...
I love Homecoming.
Yeah, I do too. But, I mean, Spider-Man 2, Tobey Maguire, classic. I think that's at the top. It was just ahead of its time. So
very much so. I mean, that was when superhero movies were just coming out. You know. Well, you wouldn't know because you weren't born then. But it is.
Whoa! I grew up on those movies,
bro. I saw that shit in theaters. Okay, the OG Spider-Man. I was there. So episode 2 is another really good episode. It has like a little lull where it kind of slows down. There's not a whole lot of Spider-Man action. We kind of focus on Peter himself for a good portion of this episode. But the point that I want to kind of bring up here is he goes to Oscorp, and this is where he's going to try to, he's accepting his internship at Oscorp, and he's working with a bunch of different people, and Dr. Connors is there, Carla Connors, apparently, and she's got the missing arm, so they're kind of changing things up with the lizard origin here. But he ends up leaving there, and again, this is all part of what I just love about Spider-Man is, and I hope we dive into it a little bit more, is the fact that Spider-Man almost never gets what he wants. It's always Spider-Man comes first. Peter Parker always comes second. And, he has his friend. He tells her that he's going to be there at the party. But, of course, it's just like his personality. He can never make it up to his friends. Like he can never be there for his friends. He can never
prioritize himself.
Exactly. Which is going to make, which we can get into if we ever do a review series on like No Way Home and shit like that. That to me is the epitome of the very ending of that movie, because it's like he's doing exactly what that character is like, where he just gives up his friends and then goes solo. But he ends up fighting an arsonist called Butane in this particular episode. And one of my favorite moments of both episodes, this is probably my favorite, okay? He's in there, he's fighting Butane, and Butane is like, oh yeah, I got this thing to where I'm going to destroy the building on 2nd Street. Yeah. And then it stops, and Spider-Man's like, bro, this is 51st Street. Dude, I laughed my fucking ass off. Like, that's perfect.
Yeah.
And he goes to the window and he looks at the street sign, and yeah, he's burning down the wrong fucking building. Like, that is one of my favorite moments in recent memory in any kind of superhero project.
Mm-hmm.
So I really love that. And then I wasn't expecting the episode to end with Norman Osborn catching Peter changing into the Spider-Man suit, bro.
So many questions. Many questions.
I like that they're kind of going with the, it kind of reminds me of like James Gunn in a way, where he goes with more obscure characters that we're not really familiar with yet. So Butane, and then Lonnie Lincoln, who I didn't even know it was Tombstone. So I guess I'm not that big of a Spider-Man fan, so I go fuck myself, right? But and I do like that we're getting some of these lesser known characters, but at the same time, it's like the show's really fucking good. How about we get some of those good characters in there, you know?
I mean, that's where they're kind of hitting at. I remember in episode one, I think they were in the car on the way to school, and you see the little Iron Man, the rear view mirror, little ornament.
Yep.
We've already seen Doctor Strange, Venom. You know, I'm curious what other cameos we might see. I'm hoping we maybe possibly get a little Future Foundation action going in. I've seen, okay, so other 3 episodes are out. I couldn't help but look. I didn't read the descriptions, but I looked
No
at the
future
little
spoilers.
like thumbnails. But I'm just hoping that we can get some
What do you
nice
think about
cameos.
his suit?
It reminds me a lot of the first Homecoming suit, just with the it looks a little bit more like Spider-Man as far as like the eyes and yeah, basically the eyes. I mean, he has like the sweater. I'm pretty sure he had like shoes on there. I do kind of like the tank action he's got going on.
I dig it. At first, I was like, "Oh man, come on, bro! I didn't want to fight him. Fucking want this kind of suit." But again, it kind of
Yeah,
grew on me, and I really dig it, man. It just makes sense for this type of Spider-Man to have that suit. Like he
yeah,
doesn't have
yeah,
all the money in the world, and it just makes sense for him to have a suit like that. So
yeah.
I'm curious to know if we're gonna get additional suits as we move forward with the series.
Okay, well, I mean, now that we got Norman, the tech genius, knows that homie is Spider-Man, are we gonna see like a little collaboration between them, or my guy's got to hook my dude up with some next gen technology. That's what I'm thinking with.
I would assume so. I would assume so. I think that's the way that it'll end up going. Is that's going to be his intro into getting the more high tech suits.
Mm-hmm.
And just hear me out. Just hear me out. What if we build this little bond, this little relationship between Norman Osborn and Peter here,
Yeah.
and he sees him as this mentor of his father-like figure, and I don't know, maybe something happens and Norman feels betrayed, or Norman wants some of that power because he's feeling a little jealous. I think there's always a little bit of jealousy
Mm-hmm.
in there with Norman Osborn.
Well, he's a
And
businessman, so I mean,
exactly.
you know.
So I'm curious to know if that's going to lead him to becoming the old Green Goblin,
Yeah.
and it's going to have a little show off between
I'm,
Spider-Man versus Green Goblin that way, and it's going to have the little emotional connection there with them knowing each
yeah,
other.
yeah. So maybe we're in the early stages of just building that emotional connection between the two.
Yeah, I'd be down for that,
Okay.
bro. I'd be down for that.
Yeah.
I'd fuck with it.
I'm curious. Maybe we see a
Maybe not
little
even bring him in.
what?
What are you gonna say?
Oh, maybe we're gonna see like a little Green Goblin, maybe some Hobgoblin. We got Harry. We don't know what he's about. Haven't really seen too much of him. We've been introduced, but you know, we haven't seen any hints of Norman becoming the Green Goblin yet. But then again, we haven't really, hung out with him that much. So I don't know.
I would be okay with maybe, I don't know how many seasons they plan on doing. I did a quick Google search and it looks like there's only going to be 10 episodes, which now we have, 5 out? So we're already halfway through the fucking
Yeah,
season already. That's crazy.
yeah,
It's going to be over in a couple weeks. I would be okay with maybe like a three season arc. Like this one builds that relationship, and I don't know, you could throw in any random villain towards the end of the season. Second season kind of builds with maybe there's some divide between Harry and Norman. And at the end of season 2, maybe he becomes the Green Goblin. And then 3 is just an overarching story with him fighting Green Goblin. And then maybe in season 4, they bring in the Hobgoblin because Harry's pissed off that
yeah,
his dad's dead.
yeah. Either that
Dude,
or
I can fuck with it.
yeah, it
Which is
takes.
why I'm
I don't know.
so
There's
excited
so
for
many,
Spider-Man 2,
so many
Spider-Man 3 to
options.
come out.
Oh yeah.
Because
Whenever we saw.
Daddy Osborn is fucking pissed.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I mean, being that back when Spider-Man, who was it? Spider-Man 3, he found his dad's lair.
Yeah,
Fire, fire.
yeah. Although
I don't know.
I do kind of like them going from I did like how they went from in the video games Harry and then the dad because the dad's pissed off that he lost his son. I
Hmm.
do like that aspect, but I think it's best if it goes from Goblin to the Hobgoblin.
Yeah,
Personally.
yeah, yeah. Agreed.
So yeah, man, I love the first 2 episodes. I think they were great. I ended up watching them twice with my sons, and I plan on end up watching them again with my sons. And I'm excited for the rest of the season.
Yeah, me too. I am curious if we're gonna see a little Scorpion action. That is the one villain, the one main villain that we have not seen in OG Spider-Man, in Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, or the only time we ever saw him was at the end of No Way Home, whenever the sky cracked open and there was like his little outline. Do you think
He
that
was
we're
in
going to see a little bit of Scorpion action?
he was at the end of Homecoming.
Was he?
Yes, he was in prison. It wasn't like he wasn't in his suit. It was the inmate. He had a little scorpion tattoo on his neck. He was talking to Vulture.
Oh.
When he got in
I
there,
don't
he was the
think
one that asked if, hey, do you know who Spider-Man is? And that was when Vulture said, if you think I knew who Spider-Man would, wouldn't he be dead?
Yeah.
It was the very end of Homecoming.
Okay. I'm going to have to give it a rewatch. Look out for that. But I've never seen him in his suit in action. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we have not gotten a live action suit.
I'm hoping maybe this one will drop that. I'm always looking for a little Scorpion cameo.
I'm just saying, I'm always down for a Spider-Man series, sir.
Yeah.
We talk a lot of shit about Spider-Man.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Spider-Man, he's like neck and neck with Batman for me, for numero uno.
Absolutely.
Well, guys, let us know down in the comments below of what you're thinking about the first 2 episodes of Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. Is it scratching that animated Spider-Man itch, or can you just not deal with it and it's just not your thing? And if it's not, that's fine. Like I said, it's dealing with some more obscure characters and doing some gender swapping, race swapping, which is fine. I don't really give a shit either way, as long as the story's good. But let us know in the comment below of how you're feeling about it. And also in the description below, we have links to all of our social media accounts. We would greatly appreciate it if you went there, like, subscribe, follow, do all that bullshit. Really helps us out, expand and improve the podcast. So we'd be very appreciative if you did that. But that is going to be it from us, and we will catch y'all next time on another episode. Laters.